Hello everyone, welcome back. World Warplanes video. Week 2 of the 10-year anniversary Heart of the Griffin Marathon, although we're recording during the week, so the Heart of the Griffin stuff is not up. This is just a regular mission, and Cobra had asked about rudder control in a previous video, so I'm working on a video for how to do this and how I have my keyboard set up, but this replay should show you some of what you can do if you take rudder control into account in your flight setup, however you want to do that. Some of you may already have it set up, if so, awesome. It certainly helps you with your maneuverability, getting into and out of tight windows. But if not, I'll try and show you here how to do that. If you do have your rudder slaved, you can do a lot of different things. Here's just simple mouse control. You can kind of see your plane reacts to where the pointer is. But if you set up rudder control on your keyboard, look at the fine control you have. Just a pure horizontal back and forth line. And that's part of what I have. I have those rudder controls slaved to my keyboard so that I can add that into things. And then of course you got A and D. Hopefully you can do a little roll action as well. So that rudder control is the yaw maneuverability you see mentioned in some of the equipment and also on your stat sheet for the planes. And having a high yaw rate will allow you to do some things that other planes cannot do sometimes. Taking this plane out because, one, I love it. It's got great flight characteristics, especially at Tier 4, and not necessarily great maneuverability, although we're compensating for that with rudder control, but it's incredibly fast for Tier 4. The weak side, of course, is just 250 calibers in the nose. Set those up for additional fire, hopefully get a little extra DPS in, but I do have that daily I'm trying to finish for assists, and so a plane with good flight characteristics but poor guns is just what the doctor ordered to try and round that one out and get me to a new one. It is a great boom and zoom plane also, so you'll see me echoing that verticality again. And at Tier 4, not a lot of people expect that. There's the weak guns, can't finish the kill, but that's okay. It gives me one more assist. That is a rudder loop, by the way, if you were watching. It was a very tight over. I'm going to do it again in just a second, take care of a ground attack aircraft. But when you pull over, a lot of times people have their nose up keyed to the keyboard, S key or something, Q key, something like that, so that they can keep their nose up, especially if they're working the turret or if they're too close to the ground. I have that and the rudder control both on the keyboard, so you'll see me use both in some of these turns, and it really does make a difference in how you can move around. So same thing here, I'm going up and over, but I'm using the rudder control, and then the rudder control to come down the other direction. See how nice and tight that was, right onto the tail of this enemy plane. And normally an aircraft like this with a 360 time in the mid-10s can't do something like that. If you're using mouse control, the computer doesn't keep up with the mouse fast enough. It doesn't interpret the mouse inputs fast enough. So when you add the keyboard to it, you get to make things go a lot faster. Your response time is much greater in terms of how you maneuver. It makes a big difference. So this was just a regular turn, powering through it. Didn't need to use the rudder to change elevations on that. You do it to yo-yo, as it's called. So I'm just looking for kills. I'm just locking down. Airbase is good. Center zone is good. There's not much I can do about those mining plants, although if there's a bunch of enemies over it, I might sneak over and try and take one. I have the speed to do that, to leave the center zone and come back in a plane like this, which at Tier 4, hitting 550 kph is pretty amazing. And that's what I figure, maybe I can take out a bomber before they flip something. No, not happening, but that's okay. We've got incoming on this center zone, and I really want to hold on to it. So again, vertical element, I'm just going to dive from the clouds on this guy. 2 machine guns, not great, but I've got some help behind me. The F4F is trying not to friendly fire me, but with the machine guns, it's sometimes difficult. And I'm able to make the turn a little better than he is. And so I get the last couple of shots, which helps and doesn't help. Here's another rudder turn. You see me going up I start the turn horizontal and then kick the rudder. And then you can see I can do back and forth kind of barrel rolling like that if I need to for defensive fighting. This heavy I know is going to be a problem if left unchecked. He's got bombs. He's got a great weapons set up in the nose. So I'm just going to track him down, and a plane like this with good boom and zoom capabilities at Tier 4 is perfect for hunting heavies. The downside again is just the lack of guns, but you see we get a fire here, and that finishes him off. And again, the F4F mirroring me back there. Here's another rudder control to keep from hitting the ground. I rudder up when I'm going down sideways, and it just makes it a whole lot easier to get where I need to go. And this is where you're going to see a real rudder control in action. So I'm going to have to loop on this guy to finish him. Again, I've got the weak guns, right? So watch. We're going to go up, and I'm going to use that rudder to kick to the side. And then I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to rudder down so that I get that vertical element to my turn, and it makes it a whole lot tighter, a whole lot quicker to get back on. And I know that's important in this case because the zone is almost capped. And so if I can get that extra 60 capture points back for us and keep the zone from being flipped, that would be wonderful. There's 3 other planes, 2 in the sector and 1 incoming, so it's important to get that kill as fast as possible. When you have weak guns, you got to make up for it with your flying skills, right? And so this plane really rewards that with a good setup. Again, another one, I'm not necessarily prepared to handle this with light guns, but again, up, rudder on the vertical, change it, a little tighter, flip it back over, and we're back on him again. So the amount of time we're off guns is very small, and we're able to ping in a lot, and thankfully, again, we've got some help coming in from our buddies. I'm just taking a peek at the other guy in a BF-109. Thankfully, teammates had him, and I can loop back around. I felt much better at this point because of where that capture pie was sitting at in the middle of the screen. Not nearly as bad. So again, we're just going to come in, see if we can get another assist here or maybe a kill, and we end up being the one to finish it again. So far, I'm not sure how the assists are going. We'll have to check that post-match, but we are doing our fair share of work. See the heavy up. He's chasing our heavy, clearing him out in the top layer. To give him room to do some boom and zoom. I'm not a fan of that. I want this guy gone again. So I'm just going to kick that boost and push him up. This plane is not specialized, so I do not have a pneumatic control assist to help me with maneuverability. That's part of the reason I have to do what I do and be aware of how I'm moving, especially with that rudder. I've got to be on top of how this plane moves and who's behind me. If I'm behind someone, what it means is it's really hard for them to shake me. But if someone's behind me, that means if they're a good maneuver aircraft, I've got to boost out of there and hope I can have the survivability to withstand the fuselage of bullets fuselage? What's the word there? The barrage of bullets coming in behind me. But there's no way to escape. Even if this 109 goes in the vertical, I've got the engine power to get up to where he's at and deal with him. Rudder control to avoid a collision there with a teammate. Get another fire from the guns, just whittling. This time I'm going to break off the other direction. I'm not looking for a tight spiral because I was worried about that heavy back there if he was coming for me or not. Since he's not, another and almost near collision. That one I couldn't avoid. I didn't know what was going on with the bots today, but we finish off another ground attacker. At this point we have a significant lead. The player heavy is coming back in. It's time for a bombing run. It's not a bad idea with that, again, with that boom and zoom, but I do have a very fast aircraft. You can see he gets guns on. The way the turret came online so quick, I'm pretty sure he switched to the turret manually. But then he does a little bit of a roll, which is odd, and brings himself back into my guns before getting back out. I'm not sure if he was trying to get the tail cannon on me again or what, but it's not worth it. I've already got half my health. I'm just trying to protect the zone and protect our lead at this point, play defensively, which is, again, what light fighters are good at. Do see the Hurricane up high, so I decide to boost up, take care of him. I'm not worried about switching to another zone at this point, so I can use that boost cooler offensively to get up and down. This is not a player, it's a bot, but even if it was a player, I don't think they would have expected me to boost 1,000 meters straight up under them. It's at tier 4, that just doesn't happen very often. There's not many planes capable of it, and it's also not a tactic you see very often. So I just pulled a Nakamatsu, 400 capture points. That means this match is going really well. And we're almost done. I'm going to dive in on this 109, see if I can clear him or maybe get another assist, but it's going to be for naught because we're going to hit that 800 mark with four points captured, 12 points every 5 seconds. So decent match over that 10,000 kind of personal that I set for myself. Get him a Campbell as well. It's 10 kills and 1 sortie, and you have to knock down all 5 types of aircraft, which I did. You saw me pull down the bomber and the attack aircraft both on that. So we're going to just briefly look post-game at this stat-wise and how I have it set up. But I had 11 kills, no deaths. And what's interesting is you'll see my damage numbers are not great. Again, it's just those two little 50 cals. But the 50 cal bump a few years ago, or a year ago I think it was, gave a massive, nice boost to planes like this that just relied on a couple of 50s to get the job done. I also managed to get 6 assists out of that, which definitely helped my daily. 30 assists takes a while, just a little bit of a grind, and I'm trying to clear it out so I can get some of those other things in there. It's a decent token builder, the assist one, but it's not my favorite. In fact, a bunch of the daily missions are not my favorite, but I'm a little behind in this, as you guys might know from watching me play some of these games. I don't have the inventory of specialized aircraft that many of the players that really stuck with 2.0 do have. I've dipped in and out of 2.0. And so sometimes I'm fighting at a disadvantage. And again, I love that challenge. It's not a problem for me. I don't mind doing it. But it would be nice to have a little more of a specialized inventory for some of these battles where I really need to get stuff done or missions done or marathons done. So I'm saving tokens for that. And, so I can get them to kind of that halfway mark. I only have to pay half the tokens, cuts down on the grind, especially for my tier 10s, which is really where that specialization component can make a huge difference in the gameplay. So that's it. You can see the scores here post-match in terms of this. The other team just really struggled to put points on the board. We did very well. That F4F did a great job helping me lock down the center zone and take care of some stuff. And I've just got a hybrid build on this. I've got the polished skin for a little bit of speed and the lightweight power plant. This plane has good survivability. And so there's not a need or a worry, I guess, with that lightweight power plant or the, some of the components to worry about increased damage, stuff. It holds together pretty well. It's got a great hit point pool. And you can see over here the cruise speed and boost speed are excellent, especially for this tier, and you do have 8 seconds of boost. And if you're doing vertical, the dive speed allows you to retain a lot of energy. And again, it's got middling maneuverability stats and no pneumatic assist. So I've got a 10.6 control time. But if you do a little bit of that setup, you can do good things with this using that yaw rate, using that rudder control. As you can see, the minimum optimal speed is only 210, so that's not bad. You can pull a lot of maneuvers and keep your those characteristics intact without taking the penalty for going below or above that. Stall speed is not great, but again, you want to retain a little bit of energy with this fighter anyway. It's a good plane. It's a decent one at tier 4. It really rewards dedicating yourself to flying and flying well and using some of those air combat maneuvers because again, the guns are not, you're not going to make up for anything with the guns, right? So fun plane. I enjoy it. Nice at tier 4 to take care of some missions. I feel like it's balanced. And because of that, I can always worry about those low tier things. I don't want to seal club anyone to death with a specialized 0 at tier 4 or whatever it is. I think it's the A5M at tier 4. But, so it's a good plane, balanced plane, allows me to do a lot of things without necessarily being a seal clubbing machine, take care of some of those missions down at lower tiers, and it's just a joy to fly. So again, I'll have a video for you a little later on about how to set up your rudder controls if you haven't done that already, and showing you more specifically the kinds of things you can do. But it's certainly a help. It's certainly something I would open a practice room and see if you can get used to flying in that capacity or putting them on, slaving them to your keyboard or somehow making that availability for you. Even if you only slave one direction of rudder control, that may give you a little bit more in terms of what you can do wiggling defensively, but also getting better time on target offensively as well. So I'll work on that video. I had an early version of it in the can, but I crashed halfway through it. It's just bugging me to death. So I'll work on that some more over this holiday weekend, see what I can come up with. We're in Heart of the Griffin this weekend on regular conquest mode, so good luck with that. It's a little harder to get those 15,000 personal points. Although the kills and stuff do tend to be a little bit easier, I think, in Conquest, given what I've seen of this. So hopefully you get some boxes for yourself or a little bit of extra gold, and hopefully you enjoy the weekend, and hopefully you had a good turkey day yesterday. So I will see you in the skies.